An anaconda wrapped around a K9 German Shepherd puppy. What the mother does next will shock you. Deep in the stillness of the Florida wetlands, a cry echoed to the tall grass, sharp, panicked, and small. A K9 German Shepherd puppy, barely a few weeks old, had wandered too far from his mother. What found him next was silent and deadly. A massive anaconda, slithering with intent, coiling itself slowly around the helpless pup. But just as it seemed all hope was lost, something incredible happened. This isn't just a story about survival. It's a story about instinct, courage, and the unbreakable bond between a mother and her pup. What she did when she found them will leave you speechless. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on notifications. This helps us bring more inspiring and powerful stories like this one straight to you. The wetlands were strangely quiet that morning. Misty beams of sunlight pushed through the canopy of bald cypress and Spanish moss, casting silver ribbons across the shallow water. The air hung thick with humidity, and the only sound was the distant call of herons somewhere deeper in the marsh. But to Luna, the mother German shepherd, every leaf, every shift in the grass, every scent in the air meant something. She had been trained for this. A retired K9 officer, she still moved with the alert precision of a working dog. Head low, ears pricked forward, muscles ready to spring. Only this time, she wasn't looking for criminals or explosives. She was looking for her son, 6 weeks old and restless. The only male of her litter of 5, Diesel had always been the curious one, the bold one, the one who strayed too far. Luna had already warned him with nips and growls to stay close to the den they dug beneath an old palmetto tree. But pups don't listen the first time. Sometimes they don't listen at all. That morning, while Luna went down to the river's edge to drink, Diesel had wandered into the tall grass. It had taken her less than 3 minutes to realize he was missing. It took her less than 2 to start running. Now, she was weaving through the reeds like a shadow, nose to the ground, following the scent of his tiny paw prints. But something was wrong. The trail was too straight, too quiet, no rustle of movement, no bark, no cry, nothing. Then she stopped. A single drop of blood on a rock. Her body stiffened. Every instinct in her screamed. She was no stranger to fear. She had served beside officers in downtown Miami, faced down armed suspects, protected children, found bodies in wreckage. But this fear, this wild animal panic, was different. This was her puppy. She bounded forward, paws splashing through mud and shallow water, following the scent as it grew stronger, until she heard it, a shriek, weak, cut short. She burst into a small clearing near the base of a live oak tree, and there, coiled around her tiny, writhing son, was a serpent so large it looked like a shadow come to life. An anaconda. Its body was thick as a tire, scales glistening in mottled green and black. Its yellow eyes were locked on Diesel's face, and its coils had already looped twice around his chest and back legs. The pup's eyes were wide with terror, his mouth open in a silent gasp. Luna didn't pause. She lunged. She hit the anaconda's body with the full force of her 90 pounds. Teeth flashing, a deep growl erupting from her throat that echoed through the trees like thunder. The snake loosened for half a second, just enough for Diesel to let out a gasp. But the anaconda struck back, whipping its tail with violent strength and slamming Luna sideways into the dirt. She hit the ground hard, but she got up harder. The fight was not fair. The anaconda was longer, heavier, built for slow, crushing death and constriction. But Luna was built for loyalty, for speed, for precision. She bit into the thick body, shaking her head side to side. Blood filled her mouth, thick, musky, and warm. The snake thrashed, trying to wrap around her, but she danced back just in time. Then she lunged again, this time grabbing its body closer to the base of its head. The anaconda, stunned by the unexpected assault, began to retreat, its coils loosening around Diesel. The puppy dropped limply to the ground, struggling to breathe, ribs shuddering. Luna didn't stop. Her jaw clamped tighter. Her eyes were wild. Her heart was breaking. She dragged the anaconda backward, away from her son, yanking with every muscle in her body until the snake slipped into the water and vanished with a splash beneath the lily pads. Luna turned and ran back to Diesel. His breathing was shallow. His tongue hung out. He didn't move when she licked his face. She let out a short, sharp bark. Once, then again. He whimpered. It was the most beautiful sound she had ever heard. She licked his face frantically, then gently grabbed the back of his neck with her teeth, lifting him like she had when he was just days old. Her paws moved fast through the wet land, cutting through the brush and the roots until she reached the edge of the trail that led to the small cabin where her handler, retired Officer Matt Harlan, had been living since they both left the force. She barked 3 times. Matt was already outside. He dropped the coffee mug in his hand and ran to her. "Luna? What the— oh my God, Diesel!" He felt his knees. Luna laid the puppy at his feet and let out a soft whine. Matt scooped up the small, trembling body and rushed inside the cabin. Luna followed closely, her body still trembling from adrenaline, blood smeared across her coat. Inside, Matt placed Diesel on a towel and began checking for injuries. Crushed ribs, maybe. We'll need x-rays. But he's breathing. Jesus, girl, what the hell happened out there? Luna looked up at him, eyes wide, ears still twitching toward every sound outside. Matt picked up the phone with one hand and grabbed his car keys with the other. "We're going. Now." As he carried Diesel to the truck, he looked back at Luna. "You saved his life." She climbed into the passenger side, never once taking her eyes off her pup. The truck roared to life, kicking up dust and gravel as it sped toward the nearest vet clinic, 20 miles through twisting forest roads. Inside, Diesel lay curled in a blanket, chest rising and falling slowly, rhythmically. And Luna never looked away. The veterinarian, Dr. Holly Reyes, had been in practice for over 20 years, but she had never seen anything quite like this. "This pup shouldn't be alive," she muttered, adjusting the oxygen mask over Diesel's tiny snout. Cracked ribs, bruised lungs, internal bleeding, and constriction marks all along the back legs. She looked at Matt, who paced the clinic floor with blood on his shirt and dirt on his jeans. Luna sat beside him, her tail unmoving, eyes glued to the silver operating room door. "You said it was an anaconda?" Holly asked. Matt nodded. "Yeah, in the wetlands near my cabin." Luna chased it off. Holly raised her brows. "In Florida? That's rare. Not unheard of, but rare. Some exotic pet owners dump them when they get too big." "Well, this one wasn't someone's pet," Matt said, voice sharp. "It was a killer." He knelt beside Luna and ran a hand down her side. She didn't even hesitate. She threw herself at it. Dr. Reyes sighed. "She's a working dog. They don't forget what it means to protect." Matt looked at Luna. "No, she doesn't." It had been 3 years since they'd left the force. 3 years since Luna took a bullet during a drug bust and nearly bled out in the back seat of a cruiser. She'd retired after that. And Matt, burned out and grieving after losing his partner to fentanyl exposure, couldn't keep going either. They left the city, bought a small cabin near the wetlands, and started over. Together. Matt had never planned to raise puppies. But when Luna became pregnant during a brief boarding stay at a certified breeder's kennel, the vet had warned him it might be complicated due to her injuries. She gave birth to 5. 1 died. Diesel was the strongest of the remaining 4, and the most stubborn. Now, he was barely clinging to life. The next 2 days were quiet torture. Diesel remained under sedation. Luna never left the waiting room, not even to eat. Matt had to coax her into drinking water. She sat by the door, every muscle tense, flinching at every sound, waiting for the moment her son would return. On the 3rd day, Dr. Reyes came out with a small smile. "He's stable, breathing on his own. He'll need time, weeks, maybe months, but he's going to make it." Matt let out a shaky breath. Luna didn't bark, didn't leap. She just exhaled deeply, lowered her head to the floor, and closed her eyes for the first time in 72 hours. Later that day, they brought Diesel home, wrapped in a small fleece blanket. He looked impossibly small, fragile, but his tail wagged faintly when he heard Luna's paws on the wooden floor. She walked up to him, nose twitching, then licked the tip of his ear. He let out a whimper. That sound, soft, broken, real, was enough to make Matt's throat tighten. Over the next several weeks, Luna never left his side. When Matt administered medications, she hovered. When Diesel tried to stand and failed, she nudged him gently until he tried again. Matt built a small pen in the living room where Diesel could lie safely. Luna climbed in and curled around him, like a living wall of strength. But not everyone understood. One afternoon, Matt's former captain, Bryce McKinney, paid a surprise visit. He stood on the porch in full uniform, arms crossed, patrol car parked by the trees. "Jesus, Bryce," Matt muttered as he opened the door. "You come all the way out here to write me a ticket?" Bryce didn't smile. "You okay?" Matt hesitated. "Define okay." "I heard about what happened. Anaconda attack. Pup nearly crushed. Vet clinic called the station. Said the injuries look suspicious. You know how it works, Matt. Any potential animal cruelty case gets flagged." Matt's eyes flashed. "You think I hurt him?" "No, but people talk. There's rumors about your mental state since retirement, about how you've been isolating, drinking too much." "I'm not the one who lost control," Matt snapped. "I saved him. Luna saved him." Bryce stepped inside. Diesel was lying on a padded mat, breathing peacefully. Luna lifted her head and growled softly. "I see that," Bryce said, lowering his voice. "But you have to be careful. Someone reports this again, and it won't just be a wellness check. Animal control's already asking questions." Matt clenched his jaw. "Let them come. I've got nothing to hide." Bryce walked toward the door. "You sure about that?" Matt didn't answer. After he left, Luna approached Matt and rested her head against his thigh. "I'm okay," he whispered. "We're okay. Don't listen to them." But that night, as Diesel whimpered in his sleep and Luna paced anxiously, Matt realized something. They weren't okay. Not completely. And the danger wasn't over. A week later, it came back. Matt had taken Luna and Diesel outside for short sun exposure. Diesel could now stand with assistance and walk a few feet, his legs wobbling like twigs in the wind. Luna kept close to his side, correcting his balance with gentle nudges. Then Luna stopped. Her ears stiffened. Her body lowered. A hiss. Matt heard it just a second too late. The same anaconda, larger now, or maybe it just looked that way in daylight, was slithering silently across the outer edge of the property near the creek. Luna barked once. Diesel collapsed to the ground, frightened. Matt grabbed the shovel leaning against the cabin. But the snake didn't attack. It was watching. Luna stepped forward, placing herself between the snake and her puppy. This time, she didn't lunge. She growled. Low, territorial, deadly. The anaconda hesitated, then slipped back into the creek. Matt stood there, heart pounding, shovel raised. "Not again," he breathed. "I won't let this happen again." That night, he built a reinforced enclosure around the property. Motion-activated lights. Cameras. A barrier between his family and the wild. And he made a decision. They couldn't stay here. Not with predators lurking and whispers growing louder. He would leave the wetlands. He would take Luna and Diesel somewhere safe. Somewhere they could start over. Again. But first, he had to find out why the anaconda had come back. And that meant going deeper into the swamp. Matt didn't sleep that night. After the second encounter, something inside him shifted. It wasn't just about Diesel anymore, or even Luna. It was the fact that danger had walked right up to their doorstep. Twice. And this time, the anaconda hadn't attacked. It had watched. He sat at the kitchen table, a map of the Everglades and a half-empty thermos of coffee in front of him. Luna lay nearby, eyes following his every movement. Diesel was asleep, breathing heavier now, his recovery slow but steady. Each day he grew stronger, but Matt knew there might not be many days left if he didn't act. "This isn't random," he muttered to Luna. "It's coming from somewhere." At dawn, he packed a small bag, flashlight, first aid kit, revolver radio, and 3 strips of beef jerky for Luna. She followed him to the truck without needing to be called. She knew something was happening. He glanced at Diesel as he pulled the cabin door shut behind them. The pup lifted his head briefly, then laid it back down. I'll be back soon, bud. They drove for 15 minutes, deeper into the swamp. Matt parked where the old ranger road turned into soggy brush, the air buzzing with insects and thick with heat. Luna jumped out and immediately took to the trail, nose low, ears alert. They walked for nearly an hour, the only sound being birds overhead and the slosh of boots in mud. Then Luna stopped, her body tensed. Matt raised a flashlight and scanned the trees. There, wedged between two roots, was a thick shed of snake skin, nearly 8 feet long, glistening in the early light. Still fresh. God, Matt muttered, it's growing. They kept moving. Soon, they reached a small clearing surrounded by water. At its center sat a half-sunken wooden shack, weathered and rotting. Vines climbed at walls, and a metal cage lay overturned near the door. Luna growled. Matt stepped closer. The air smelled foul, like rot and wet fur. He pulled his shirt over his nose and cautiously pushed open the door. Inside, the light filtered through gaps in the planks. A broken table sat crooked in one corner. Animal cages lined the back wall, some still closed. Bones littered the floor. But what caught his eye was a photo on the wall. A young man, maybe in his 30s, standing next to a massive anaconda. Behind them, the same shack. Someone had raised a snake here. Matt's stomach twisted. It wasn't just a wild animal. It had been trained, fed, conditioned. But when the owner abandoned this place, or died, the snake had stayed behind. Territorial, instinct-driven, and now out of control. Luna sniffed near one of the cages. Inside, a decaying rabbit lay untouched. But her nose led her to something else, a steel box beneath the floorboards. Matt pried it open. Inside were notebooks, pages filled with feeding logs, notes about behavior, growth charts, and a final entry. Letting it go tonight. Too big. Too aggressive. If it comes back, I won't survive it. Dated 6 months ago. Matt stepped back, heart racing. This was planned. He released it. Just let it go. And now it was hunting anything in its old territory, including the scent of dogs. A sudden crack in the brush snapped Matt back to the present. Luna bristled. A hiss. Low. Familiar. Matt turned slowly, flashlight up. 10 feet away, the anaconda's massive head rose from the underbrush, tongue flicking. Luna stepped forward, snarling, body low, tail stiff. Matt raised a revolver. He had 5 rounds. The snake moved, slow at first, then lunging forward with terrifying speed. Matt fired. The shot cracked through the swamp, echoing in the stillness. The bullet hit its target, but not clean. The snake thrashed violently, knocking Luna sideways, then turned and slithered into the trees, trailing blood. Matt ran to Luna, who was already trying to stand. She limped slightly but was alert. Come on, he said, pulling her with him. We're done here. They returned to the truck by sunset, dirty, bruised, but alive. Back at the cabin, Matt called the local wildlife department and filed a full report. He shared the journals, the photos, and the last known coordinates. It's a Class 1 invasive, the officer confirmed. We've had a few like this before. We'll send in a team. But Matt wasn't done. He reinforced the fences again, installed floodlights, and from that night on, slept with a revolver next to the bed. Luna stayed close to Diesel. She rarely left his side, but something had changed. She was different. Not fearful, but alert, fiercely protective. And something else. Patient. Diesel had changed too. The trauma had slowed his development, but not broken him. Now, he walked a few steps farther each day, pushed himself harder, even barked again. Soft at first, then louder. One morning, Matt took him outside. Just the two of them. Diesel sniffed the grass, hesitated, then stepped forward, one paw, then another. Matt watched, arms crossed, smile growing. You're tougher than I gave you credit for, kid. Behind them, Luna emerged from the doorway. She didn't join them. She just watched, like she knew. Some part of this fight now belonged to Diesel. And then a sound came through the trees. Leaves moving. Matt's hand went to his holster. Diesel froze. But it wasn't the snake. It was the wildlife team. Two officers with tranquilizer rifles, a trap cage, and cameras mounted to their gear were setting up along the waterline. One said, "If it comes back, we'll know." Matt nodded. "Just don't miss." That night, the trap was set. They waited. Midnight passed. Then 2 a.m. Nothing. Until Luna stood up from her place by the door and let out a deep growl. Matt jumped from the couch. The cameras lit up. Movement near the cage. It was back, but it wasn't going in. It moved around the trap, sniffing, circling. Smarter now. More cautious. Then, like lightning, it turned toward the cabin, toward the scent. Matt raised a revolver. Luna inside. But she didn't move. Instead, she stood her ground at the gate. The snake lunged. Matt fired again. This time, the bullet hit center mass. The snake recoiled, spasming, and collapsed in the grass. Still twitching. Still breathing. The wildlife officers moved in. Tranquilizers ready. 3 shots. Then silence. Matt sank to his knees. Luna stood still, chest heaving, eyes fixed on the motionless shape. And from the open cabin door, Diesel barked. Loud, fierce, defiant. Like he understood what had just happened. Like he knew it was finally over. Morning in the wetlands smelled different after a storm. Even when the storm wasn't made of rain. The air was cleaner. Still heavy with humidity, yes, but quieter, almost respectful. As if nature had watched what happened the night before and was offering a breath of calm in return. The Anaconda was gone, removed by the wildlife team, tagged for research, and taken far into a control facility where it could never touch another pup again. But even in its absence, the fear lingered. Inside the cabin, Diesel stirred awake in his crate, ears twitching. His legs, once too weak to carry him more than a few feet, now trembled with the eagerness to try again. He stood, wobbled, then stepped forward determined. Matt watched from across the room, still groggy from barely 3 hours of sleep. He sipped cold coffee and kept one eye on the open window, where sunlight filtered in, casting long golden lines on the hardwood floor. Luna sat at her usual post near the door, silent, regal, watchful. She had barely moved since the Anaconda was taken away. Matt hadn't expected her to celebrate. That wasn't her style. Luna didn't bark at victories. She bore them like medals. Quietly, with gravity, he rose from the chair and crossed the room to Diesel. The puppy looked up at him, tail wagging slightly. "You ready for your walk, little man?" Diesel let out a low huff. It wasn't exactly a bark, but it was something. Matt clipped on the soft recovery harness and scooped the pup into his arms. He walked out the front door, nodding to Luna as he passed. "You too, partner." She followed, of course. They made their way down the gravel path behind the cabin, where the woods opened into a small patch of firm, dry earth, their training ground. Once used for drills back, when Matt still trained local K-9 units, the field was now their sanctuary. Matt set Diesel down gently. The pup took 3 steps forward, paused, then kept going. Luna walked beside him, her stride slow, her body lowered to his level, every inch of her reading him, adjusting to him. Diesel stumbled. Luna caught him with her shoulder. Matt watched, arms folded, heart swelling. These weren't just animals. They were survivors. After 10 minutes, Diesel was spent. He collapsed into grass, panting but smiling the way only puppies can. Luna lay beside him, tongue out, finally at ease. Matt dropped onto the ground nearby. He hadn't realized how tight his chest had felt these past few weeks, until now. He pulled his phone from his pocket and opened a new email draft. The recipient, Bryce McKinney. Subject, update, the snake is gone. Wildlife confirmed it was released from a nearby illegal holding. Diesel's recovering well. Luna, well, she's still the bravest soul I know. I've reinforced everything here, but I think we're ready to come back. Not to the force, but maybe to community. Let me know if the youth dog program still has space. I think Luna and I could do some good again. He hit send and slipped the phone back in his pocket. Maybe it's time we stop hiding, he said aloud. Luna's ears perked. Diesel sneezed. That afternoon, Matt cleaned the cabin from top to bottom. The blood was gone, but the memory lingered. Still, he scrubbed harder than he needed to, washing away fear, washing away guilt. He opened all the windows, let the breeze flow in. He called the vet, scheduled Diesel's next round of x-rays. He even called a fence company and ordered a perimeter upgrade. Not because he was afraid, but because he was preparing for a future again. And then, something unexpected happened. A car pulled up to the cabin. Matt stepped out onto the porch, Luna at his side. Out stepped a woman, late 30s, sharp blazer, sunglasses, and a calm smile. She held out her hand. "Hi, I'm Marina Kessler, local journalist. I'm working on a feature about retired K-9 units making a difference outside the force. Someone sent me your story." Matt blinked. "My story? The rescue, the snake, the pup's recovery, your past work with the department. It's moving. I think people need to hear it." Matt hesitated. He wasn't used to the spotlight. He hated the spotlight. But Luna stepped forward and sat beside the woman. Calm, accepting. Matt sighed. "All right, but only if it's about her." He pointed to Luna. "And him," he added, gesturing to Diesel, who had just waddled onto the porch, tail wagging like a flag in the wind. Marina smiled. "Then let's tell it right." The article went live 1 week later. The title, Luna's Legacy, the K-9 who fought an anaconda for her pup and won. It went viral. Photos of Diesel wrapped in a blanket. Luna standing tall beside Matt. A video clip of their training field, where Diesel was now walking confidently across soft terrain, tail high, head proud. The comments poured in. Heroes come in 4 legs. That dog should get a medal. I cried reading this. Bless them all. Matt read the comments aloud to Luna. She just blinked and looked at her son. That was all the praise she needed. Then came the invitations. An animal therapy group asked if Luna and Diesel could visit children at a pediatric hospital. A sheriff's office offered to name their new K-9 training field after Luna. And most meaningfully, Bryce responded, "The youth program's waiting for you. Bring Luna. Bring the pup. Let's teach them what real courage looks like." On a bright Saturday morning, Matt drove back into town for the first time in almost a year. He parked near the city's community center, where a small fenced-in training area had been set up for kids interested in animal-assisted recovery. Luna stepped out first, calm as ever. Then Diesel, smaller, still healing, but stronger by the day. Matt walked beside them, duffel bag over his shoulder. Children lined the fence, faces lit with awe. "Is that her?" one boy asked. "The mama dog?" Matt smiled. "Yeah, that's Luna. And that's her son," he added. "His name is Diesel." The boy reached out a hand. Diesel stepped forward and sniffed, then sat. "Good boy," the child whispered. Matt knelt and looked out of the crowd. "You know," he said, "Luna saved lives in the field. But the bravest thing she's ever done was raise this little guy and never give up." He looked at Diesel. And now it's his turn. Luna stood between them, tail still, eyes scanning the children with quiet understanding. Diesel sat proudly at Matt's heel, and the world finally felt safe again. The applause still echoed in Matt's memory long after they left the community center. That day had felt like the turning point, the moment things finally began to heal. Diesel had trotted beside Luna, tail high, chest puffed, while children pet him and asked questions about his story. Luna had sat calmly in the grass, while a girl in a wheelchair braided ribbons into her fur. For the first time in months, the past felt distant. The pain no longer defined them. But healing, Matt had learned, was rarely a straight line. It began with a limp. Diesel had been progressing well, slowly building strength with daily exercises. But 2 days after the visit to the community center, Matt noticed something strange. During their morning walk, Diesel hesitated before stepping onto the porch. He favored his back right leg, lifting it slightly as if uncertain. "Easy, buddy," Matt said, kneeling. "You overdid it yesterday." Diesel looked up with soft eyes. Ears drooped. By that evening, the limp had worsened. Matt called Dr. Reyes and brought him in the next morning. She ran a full battery of tests, scanned his leg, then turned toward Matt with furrowed brow. "There's a complication," she said. Matt's stomach dropped. "What kind?" "Scar tissue. The internal bruising was worse than we thought. The muscle is pressing against the nerve sheath in his hip. That's what's causing the weakness." "Can it be fixed?" Dr. Reyes paused. "With surgery, yes, but he's still young. Anesthesia is risky at this stage. We could wait, but that might limit his movement long term." Matt rubbed his face. "What would you do?" She looked at Luna, who had just nudged Diesel gently with her nose. "I'd give him a chance. He fought to live. He deserves a run." Matt nodded. "Then we do it." The surgery was scheduled for the following Thursday. Matt barely slept the night before. Luna stood by the door for hours, staring out into the dark, tail motionless. She hadn't barked in days. That morning, Diesel was unusually quiet in the truck. Normally, he looked out the window, tongue lolling, ears twitching with every bird call. But today he rested his chin on Matt's arm and stayed still. "You're going to be okay," Matt whispered. "You're strong. Stronger than me. You got that from her." Luna let out a low breath in the back seat, as if to agree. At the clinic, the staff took Diesel gently, wrapping him in a soft towel and carrying him toward the back. Luna tried to follow. Matt held her back with a single word: "Wait." And so they did, for 4 hours. Each minute felt like a stone in Matt's chest. He paced. Saturday. Paced again. Luna never moved from the spot where she last saw Diesel disappear. Her body low, head on her paws, eyes locked on the hallway. Then Dr. Reyes appeared, removing her gloves, face unreadable. Matt stood. Luna did too. "He's okay," she said at last. "Surgery went well. He's still asleep, but his vitals are strong. No sign of complications." Matt nearly collapsed from the relief. He crouched beside Luna, wrapping his arms around her neck. "We did it," he said into her fur. "He made it again." The recovery was harder this time. Diesel had to be crated for days. No running, no playing, just rest. He whimpered often, frustrated by his own stillness. Luna slept beside the crate every night, nose pressed against the metal bars. Matt brought in a mattress and slept on the floor next to them. They were a unit, a pack, healing together. Still, the emotional toll began to show. Matt found himself growing impatient. He snapped at phone calls, ignored texts. One morning, he accidentally spilled coffee on the vet bill and just stared at it for 10 minutes, jaw clenched. He hadn't realized how much he'd invested in this little dog. Until now, Luna noticed. She began following him more closely, standing in doorways he passed through, sitting beside his chair during meals. A quiet protector, sensing the cracks forming again. Matt didn't want to admit it, but the fear had returned. What if Diesel never ran again? What if this was it? And more than that, what would that mean for Luna? She had already lost her career, her team, her adrenaline-filled purpose. If Diesel couldn't carry on what she once embodied, what future did she have left? He brought it up with Dr. Reyes during a checkup. "She's restless," he said. "She's watching Diesel constantly, like she's waiting for something, or someone." Dr. Reyes nodded. "She may be grieving a future that now feels uncertain. They feel that, dogs, especially German shepherds, they don't just respond to purpose. They need it." Matt looked down. "So what do I give her if this pup never gets there?" Dr. Reyes offered a small smile. "Then you give her a new mission. You remind her that love is also a job." 1 week later, Matt received a letter. Handwritten. Simple. "To Matt Harlan and Luna, we read your story. We've never had a dog. Our son has autism, and animals made him anxious. But after seeing Luna and Diesel at the center, something changed. Our boy started drawing dogs, talking about them. For the first time in a year, he said, 'I want to pet that one.' You gave us a door we thought was locked forever. Thank you." Matt read the letter 3 times. Then he walked into the living room, knelt by Diesel's crate, and whispered, "You already changed someone's life, buddy. You don't even have to walk again to keep doing that." Luna, lying nearby, Open one eye. Matt turned to her. We're not just survivors, he said. We're messengers now. That night, he took a photo of Diesel lying curled in Luna's belly fur, both of them asleep, breathing in perfect rhythm. He posted it with a caption. Healing isn't about going back to what you were. It's about becoming something you never imagined. The comments poured in again, and with them came hope. One morning, 3 weeks later, Diesel stood, on all four paws. No wobble. Matt froze. Luna stood beside him, ears forward, tail still. Diesel took one step, then two. Then he trotted, short and proud, toward the door. Luna let out a bark, a real one, loud, joyful. Matt opened the door, and the three of them walked outside into the sun. The morning sunlight cut through the cabin's windows in warm slats. For the first time in weeks, Matt slept through the night, uninterrupted. When he woke, he found Luna curled on her bed and Diesel stretched out on the floor beside her, both breathing in gentle unison. In that quiet moment, Matt felt the weight of everything they'd endured beginning to shift. They'd fought fear, recovery, judgment, and predator. But most importantly, they'd rediscovered themselves. And now, the future felt limitless. It began simply. Diesel's recovery passed every milestone, from standing to walking, walking to running. Within days, he was chasing Luna across the field, exuberant and free. When Luna barked and turfed him in a playful tussle, Matt laughed, a sound that had been absent for too long. Then came the invitations. First, the pediatric therapy program asked for weekly visits. Diesel, now strong and steady, sat with children who needed calm and connection. Luna assisted too, laying her head on hospital bedsides, offering silent comfort and warmth. Next, the sheriff's office unveiled a new youth mentorship initiative, Courage on a Leash. They named their new community park in Matt's honor, installing a portrait of Luna beside the sign. Parents brought their kids. Teachers shared Diesel's story. Volunteers helped train young handlers. Matt found himself standing at the ribbon-cutting ceremony, Diesel on one side and Luna on the other. He cleared his throat. You didn't just see a dog fight a snake. You saw a dog fight for family, and a little pup fight to live. But the best part was what came next. They didn't stop. They healed, and now they're teaching us all what loyalty really looks like. Children clapped. Dogs barked in the background. And for a moment, Matt felt the perfect union of past and present, pain and purpose. Yet the emotional journey wasn't over. One night, after the ceremony, Luna hesitated at the door, ears stiff, eyes distant. Matt recognized the look. It was anticipation. She had learned to trust what calm looked like, but excitement still rattled her nerves. Matt knelt, gently stroking her muzzle. "We're home," he whispered. "We're safe." She exhaled heavy, then rested her head in his hand. Diesel wagged his tail and leaned into the moment. That night, Matt wrote again, this time a letter to Bryce. "We're ready, whatever comes next." Because he'd realized that retirement didn't mean hiding. It meant choosing purpose with intention. The next morning brought news. The youth program had a promising candidate, a teenage boy named Alex. Struggling after his K-9 partner in junior police training was injured. He needed a new mentor, a new role model. His mother had found Diesel's story, asked if he could meet Alex. Matt agreed immediately. They met at the park. Luna and Diesel toured the fence field. Alex, anxious, approached slowly, arms wrapped around himself. Diesel walked over, paused, then gently nudged the sleeve of Alex's jacket, an unmistakable invitation. The boy's eyes widened. He knelt, placing a trembling hand on Diesel's back. Luna sat back, watching quietly. That afternoon, Matt taught Alex how to lead Diesel, how to stay calm, patient, and confident. Alex's face lit with amazement as Diesel followed his lead. For Matt, it was more than training. It was redemption in action. Word spread quickly. Local media arrived once more. The story was now framed differently. Not just one of rescue, but a resilience transforming community. Sometimes, Matt said during an interview, we think healing is private, but it becomes powerful when shared. Luna's eyes followed Diesel and Alex from the sidelines. She seemed proud, her posture calm and dignified. Later, Matt led them home through the quiet wood path, sunset painting the sky. Diesel trotted between them. Luna walked beside Matt, nose to his hand, as if reaffirming their bond. They reached the cabin. Diesel leaped onto the porch. Then Luna sat. Matt watched them both. "We became something we never expected," he whispered. "Survivors, teachers, family." Luna looked up, eyes bright but soft. Diesel wagged at her side. That night, as Matt tucked Diesel into his crate and Luna settled beside him, he realized they had come full circle. The fierce fight in the swamp had led to something greater. Connection, community, purpose. In the silent darkness, Matt whispered to them both, "You saved each other, and now you're saving others." Across the room, Diesel sighed. Luna closed her eyes, and together they slept. If this story touched your heart, remember, courage and love don't just heal, they inspire. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share this video with someone who believes in second chances and the power of loyalty. Let's keep telling stories that move us all.